So this is post-game, and these are my thoughts quickly on what I thought of the game. Overall, I enjoyed myself with the game. There were definitely some frustrations in terms of those of us that started with early access. The first several hours of gameplay could have potentially have been lost due to a progression blocking bug with the introduction of the day one patch. So that was definitely a letdown, because I will always argue, whether it's early access or not, if the game is out to be played by the regular public, such as myself, then guess what? It should be ready to play. There should be no excuses. It's different if you're IGN and you got to play this game back in March or April for a first look at the game, and then there's like a bunch of glitches and bugs. But this kind of stuff to me is unacceptable. It shouldn't happen, okay? But it does happen. Putting that aside, looking at the map and the different planets that you can go through, the way the worlds are laid out and how they differ in biome, for me, I really enjoyed. The space combat was fairly simplistic, but I just enjoyed it. I never went, oh, not this again. It was just fun. The plethora of accessibility options as well, for, are you going to take damage from this? Are you going to take damage from that? To me, was well appreciated. The couple of abilities that you could add to the one gun that you had was pretty okay as well. I wish we could have had more weapons. I wish there was a way that we could have gotten like an enhanced holster to have one of those rifles on our back, so that we could have had like a primary and a secondary weapon, rather than just being able to punch stormtroopers. I almost said star troopers. Stormtroopers in the head and knock them out while they're wearing a helmet. So that sort of stuff to me was very convoluted. Actual combat itself wasn't too bad. I never really cringed and went, ugh. And this was on story mode, and if I wasn't careful a couple of times, I could catch myself getting my ass beat. But what kicked my ass more than anything were the instant fails for having the alarm being raised. And that was the main theme throughout the vast majority of the missions. Don't raise the alarm. Sneak here. Meanwhile, we don't even have any stealth mechanics. This ain't Assassin's Creed. Right? So it kind of just made it really bizarre. Now, I know they're going to fix that again, where they're going to make it so it's not as punishing. I really just hated that aspect. Climb up this ladder, go over here, jump there. You know, once in a while, having some puzzle stuff is okay, like in what they did with some Assassin's Creed, where it's like a mixture of some stuff. There's a little bit of puzzle, but not really. I get that that's a part of the actual game. I just don't personally like that. The reputation system is pretty decent. How you can have good reputation or very good reputation with all of them, or bad or whatever. You could just do individual contracts for each one, and then you get some rewards, and then there's transmog. So there's like a lot of tiny itty bitty little things here and there. I thought the story was actually really short. Not that it needs to be severely long and convoluted. I was actually glad that it was short, and that's because I was frustrated. However, the actual story itself, I really actually ended up being invested in it. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't overly all that generic good girl going after the bad guy. There was a few twists in there, and that have to do with the robot ND5, I believe his name is. And for me, I actually was kind of like, oh, this is actually, I like this. This is actually probably how I would have done the story writing myself. So again, it's a mixed bag. A lot of things I was like, yeah, this is cool. And then I was like, oh, what is this crap? Is it worth the money at full price? I mean, it's going to sound rude, but I definitely don't think it is. They're right there, the Superman punch from Roman Reigns. That should just have never have happened at all. It just, on humanoids like this, bop, boom. Like, look at that. That's it. That's like the highlight of my video. I couldn't let that get passed up. Which, excuse me. Which is why I went and I was like, you know what? My microphone didn't work. That's fine. I'll just get on the camera. I'll just play my actual own footage. and I'll just showcase it because that part for me was hilarious. So if this was on sale and you're a Star Wars fan and you are even remotely interested in what you've already seen from other people, much more relevant than me, and you don't mind the crazy platforming, don't raise the alarm, I mean, I suppose it would be a cautious recommendation. Knowing what I know now, honestly, if I were to go back, I would have liked to have waited. But don't forget, I'm also a YouTuber. Just because I'm not famous and I'm not really good at what I do, had this been for me, my own personal use and not doing YouTube, I would have waited for a sale, honestly. Me personally, knowing what I know, I would have been like, yeah, I'm picking this up for like $30 Canadian, not 130, which is disgusting. That's what I paid because of the season pass and all that shit. Now I'm to the point where I'm going to play the game a little bit more, but I've got NBA, I've got Madden, I've got New World coming out. There's all these games, the test drive that came out. Like, there's just so much stuff that has come out. Now that I'm done the story and I've pretty much talked about everything that needs to be spoken about this game, I'm almost on the verge, not to be dramatic, but to uninstall it. I used to have well over 130 to 150 games installed on my PlayStation, and I just don't like looking through a crazy, gigantic list of games. It stresses me out, it overwhelms me, and I don't find that enjoyable. So, like, Back for Blood, World War Z, they're fun games. They're different, but they're sort of kind of not really similar. I played them both, and I was like, you know what? Then I deleted one for another. I was like, I like this game over that game. Then I came up to the conclusion of, you know what? Dying Light 2 is nothing like them because it's first person. Well, the other one could be a first person, but it could also be a third person for World War Z. I was like, I'd just rather play Dying... Like, at no point playing Back for Blood, for example, and World War Z, am I going, this is amazing. In the sense of if I was playing Dying Light 2, I'm not thinking about World War Z and Back for Blood. But when I'm playing Back for Blood, and World War Z, I'm kind of thinking of Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 scratches the itch that I don't need those two games, so I got to phase them out. This game, believe it or not, actually deleted, and no offense to the game, I deleted Star Wars Jedi Last Survivor. You know, that last one there with Cal and the robot and the... whatchamacallit, the lightsaber and the guns and all that stuff. Because I didn't really like the world. There was a lot of sections you couldn't traverse to anymore because of the lights and the beam, and you had to grab the orb. You can't fast travel from one place to another unless you're already at a fast travel point, a la Elden Ring, Dark Souls kind of thing. Whereas this one, you could just go from space to any planet you want, any fast travel point at any time you want. It's just giddy up, let's go. Whereas, like I said, that Star Wars game, the other one, it felt a little bit more linear for obvious reasons because it's more of a hub world. It's not an open world. But again, even though I like the combat of that other game more, this provided, again, an itch scratcher. It satisfied it enough that I didn't need the other one, even though they're not the same game. Does that make any sense? And again, I have to be really strict. So I deleted the other game. And that's how now I'm proud to say that I'm down to like 44, 45 games. That's the lowest amount of games I've ever had on a system and for as long as I can ever remember. So this game may stick around for a bit. It may not. I know I kind of got off the topic there a little bit. But the point is, this really was an absolute mixed bag. For every 1 or 2 points I want to praise it on, I want to dunk on it on the other. Again, don't regret my purchase. It's what I do on YouTube. I sometimes sacrifice money so that you can see games for yourself and be like, oh shit, thank God I didn't waste my money on that. Right? I figure the money that I'm making on YouTube, I take it to put back into the community, if you want to look at it that way. And then I get a game out of it to play, whether I enjoy it for 10 hours, 20 hours, or 1,000+ hours. Okay? So yeah, there you have it. It's also hard in closing to recommend a game because people have different tolerances to bullshit. And they also have different preferences. Like some people love the Zelda-ish puzzles and platforming and all that. I can't stand that, but you can't fault a game for it if it does a good job at it just because it's not your style of gaming. A lot of what was done in the missions, again, not my style of gaming. My style of gaming now, 20 hours after finishing the story, is just roaming around on my bike and picking random fights, cranking up the difficulty, and seeing how well I can last until I get my ass kicked. Literally. And doing a lot of space battles. I've been dying for doing some of that. It's not exactly StarCraft. StarCraft could have been so much better, but now I'm just rambling off all over the place. That barely lasted 3 days on my system before I uninstalled it. So, whereas this one, not quite ready to trash it yet. So there you have it. Apologize for the long rant. I'm not good at these types of videos, but I really do enjoy making them. I truly do. Thumbs up if you liked the video, by the way. It does greatly help support that channel with the algorithm again and trying to make me relevant or more relevant in the search results when people are looking stuff up online on the internet. And if you didn't like the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs down. I'll bend it in half, I'll twist it, and I'll just break it off where the sun don't shine. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, I mean, naturally that would be great. But if not, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care. My microphone was on, thank the Lord. I did look before, but for some reason I forgot that I had already looked. But yeah, sometimes I do that when I want to record gameplay and I'm talking or something, but something's happening and I want to record it. I'll mute my microphone, but then I forgot to unmute it. So yeah. Take care, and maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.